is Chris Akin Presents, and I, of course, once again am Chris Akin. And today I will be presenting an artist that I am very happy to speak to. I think we did half an interview before we even started this, because I am a fan of her work as an actress. You've seen her in shows like American Crime Story and Billions and Lucifer. And if you go to her IMDb, it's longer than this interview will be because she's been in a ton of stuff. But now she's back with a new EP. She's dipping her toe into the music world. The EP is called PRONOIA. And to talk about that and probably to talk about some TV stuff as well is the artist Kelly Monrow. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks God. What an intro. Can you just walk alongside me every day and just like drop that? That was amazing.
Well, if you need a publicist, if you ever fire Shauna, I'm right there for it.
She's fired. She's out.
Nice. Well,
thanks for having me on. Yeah.
Sure. Well, Kelly, like I was telling you before, I was excited to have you on just to talk a little TV because I love TV stuff. But I'm always fascinated when actors try their other skill. I think a lot of times to be an actor, you kind of have to have, you either have to have great memory or great talent. You know, it's one of the two. Mm-hmm. And I think to be a super successful actor, you kind of have to give up some of your talent in order to do that. And I think people don't realize how talented actors really are. And it's very cool that you're taking the chance and you're, kind of still exploring a talent that I think you probably always wanted to, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you just get to a point as an artist where I'm doing it for me and it's like fulfills my soul in such a way that like the outcome is not really interesting to me anymore. It's more about the process.
Sure.
And so I kind of promised myself that. I was like, okay, if I end up being my only fan, am I okay with that? And like I had to really commit to that. And once I got there in my heart and my mind, everything just kind of started happening. Just because I don't, again, it's like by the time the song actually comes out, or by the time, like, for example, I have a movie in post right now and it's been in post for over 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And when you're in the moment and you're living and breathing that character, or you're making the song, it's just that creative flow that just fuels your heart so much. And then by the time it's finally out, it's so far down the road that you kind of forget you ever did it. It's like you finally go to the premiere and you're like, I did this shit 2 years ago. Like, I don't even remember what happens, So it's been an interesting process because I've had to really stay present in the process and not so much about the outcome. So like, that's why I started doing music, because it's just another channel of self-expression, but also like, I love telling stories, I'm a storyteller and writing and I've always been a lyricist. I just didn't really know it. In fact, during COVID, I had like 17 journals starting at the age of like 10. And I went back and started reading all of them. And in fact, on the PRONOIA EP I just dropped, the song Wide Open is actually verbatim lyrics, like straight out of a journal entry. So we just got down on the piano for a little bit and wrote that song in like 10 minutes. So yeah, so it's been really fun. I mean, again, I think part of the challenge, as a creative now is like all the outlets, right? It's like you need content, but then COVID hits and, but that fueled my fire every day is like auditioning and showing up on set, and that was it. And then you have to really sit in your shit and like all the stuff comes up, it's like I hit a moment of like depression and I just was not in a really good place. Like I wasn't getting that, that external validation that I thought was fueling me and that I needed, which I realize now was actually not serving me at all. So yeah, if you want the true story, one night I took a ton of mushrooms and I laid on my floor and in my apartment and I went on this like really intense journey. And basically, like, long story short, I really tapped into the little girl within me and I just talked to her and I was like, what do you really want to be doing?
Sure.
She was like, I want to sing and I want to write music and I want to create content and I want to like do a limited series and I want to write this. And I was like overwhelmed by her heart and like where she was at. And yeah, had a joyride that night. And the minute I came out of it, I realized I'm not going to hold back in any kind of form of expression anymore. I'm just going to do what feels good to me. And then if one person listens, great. I'm
Sure.
down for that. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a cool ride.
Well, you got one, me. So there you go.
That's all I need.
There you go.
And you're in Cleveland. That's all I need. I just
Exactly.
need one person from Cleveland. I'm good.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's been cool to I think just the commitment to the process is everything,
Sure.
and the commitment to the self-love that requires you to like step out and just do it is it's really been the whole battle. And now that I'm there, now it just gets fun, because you're
Sure.
just like, oh shit, like the Pandora's box is open now. So and I think there will be, I think in like my manifesting mind, there's going to be a lot of crossover between music and film,
Sure.
and eventually theater and Broadway and all that stuff. So the beautiful thing is I just had such a limiting I was living in such a limited belief system,
Mhm.
and the minute I let go of that, it's like now anything's possible, and I'm getting a lot of opportunities that would have never come had I not kind of branched out and started doing music. So it's been really interesting.
Sure. Now, now,
Yeah.
now, Kelly, the one thing that I'm going to guess, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to guess the hardest thing is that when you do music, especially this kind of music, 99% of the time it gets to be deeply personal, and you're sharing stuff that you can kind of almost mask with, when you're acting, you know, in one minute you're Nicole Brown Simpson, and the next minute you're, somebody that walks into the office on Billions. You don't show yourself. With this
Correct.
kind of music, you're absolutely showing yourself. You're showing scars, wounds, happy, sad. You really have to portray that to do this well. How did you make that jump, and was it comfortable?
No, it was so uncomfortable. Like the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done in my life. But what I've realized over time is, there's a certain level of, I mean, I think the way that I'm perceived just on the surface, especially as an actress, it's like she's tall, she's blonde, she's from Texas. She's like kind of like very sometimes basic bitch like depth. Like I haven't really it takes a hot minute for somebody to get to know me, and then they're like, wow, like I had no idea there was like all these different layers to you, and
Sure.
the depth and all the things. And so I think it's been really interesting with music, because I was like, what I'm realizing is the wounded part of me and like the vulnerable part of me, like all the shit that's happened to me, is actually the most beautiful part of me, and I want to give people the opportunity to at least see that aspect, like that part of me, because it's so special to me now. And it's really kind of made me realize that like the more that we hide, like wherever we hide, I really believe is like our most sacred part. And like that's the part I think that we're really supposed to be. And so I actually just wrote a song about it. And basically just, yeah, like the areas where there's resistance or we hide is actually like I think who we're really supposed to be. So that was a challenge for me. I was like, if I preach this and I'm a living, breathing example, like what would that look like? And for me, it was like, all right, I'm gonna put my voice out in the world, and I'm gonna talk about shit that's really uncomfortable. And if you listen to my lyrics, there's a lot of abandonment issues in those songs, and the way that I grew up, and people leaving, being afraid if someone stays, what that looked like as a child to go through a lot of the things that I went through. So I actually, again, I've done it for me, and it's been really cool. Like I got a DM the other day on Instagram, and it was really amazing. I took a screenshot of it, and I'm going to save it forever. But this girl was like, "Your music has literally saved me. I was contemplating suicide,
Mhm.
and I kept looping 'I'm alive' again and again and again," which is so interesting because, like Mama Said, almost has like 400,000 streams, and it's been out like a month or two, and I'm alive has like 25,000. Like it's not even. But again, it doesn't even matter, right? Because
Sure.
if it moves one person, then I'm down for that. So and she said she kept listening to that song, and she decided to like hold on another day. And I was just like, this is why we do this. Like
Mhm.
this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so that felt really, really good. And I check in with her every once in a while and just touch base. But yeah, it's really hard to especially, TV and film is interesting because you get to hide, like you
Mhm.
said, I've been playing characters, my whole life. And in that, there's this like bold kind of like arrogance. You're like, well, it's not me. So I can just like go fuck it up and then go to my trailer and then be a mess or whatever you want to do.
Right.
And singing is the exact opposite. It's like the minute you step up to that microphone, it's like all the emotions come up. And that's how I knew that I was on the right track. Because it was so scary to me. And
Sure.
like I would literally go up to the microphone and like just start crying for no reason. Like the producer was like, "Yo, what's going on? Are you good? Like, are you?" And it just floods your body with like all this emotion. And I was like, "This is where I'm supposed to be," because I'm
Mhm.
scared and it's doing something to me that's like waking up a part of me that I haven't felt in a really long time. So that's been really special. So I'm just chasing that. I'm just like chasing
Sure.
that down because yeah.
Well, and that is a lot of times that is the key to a successful song is its ability to portray not only portray your emotion but the ability to be captured by another person and you know the greatest songs that anybody ever knows are the ones that were the soundtrack of their wedding, their divorce, the birth of their kids, the you know, whatever it was, the high points and low points of their lives. If there's a song that relates to it in their mind, that's a successful song. And,
Yes.
you know, it's, you're not going to get that with like a Motley Crue girls, girls, girls song. Okay. You know, that's just the shallow end of the,
Speak for yourself. Speak
well,
for yourself.
well, look, I'm not saying I don't like the song. I'm saying I don't necessarily look at that as a life changer, you know. And
Right.
this kind of music that you're doing, you know, but especially mid-tempo and ballad type music, that's the stuff that really reaches deeper into people. And I think that's at least with the three songs that I've heard from you, that is something that you seem to have fairly naturally to you is the
Thank you. Yeah.
ability to tell stories that are easily relatable.
Well, I made a promise to myself and like, I'm pretty spiritual and like plugged into prayer and like that was a big kind of download that I got was like this isn't really about you anymore, It's just like my process is just to capture what's going on within me, but like again to share that because like you're right. I think it is if I can it's really fun to think like you're in the car with somebody, you're in someone's home, you're in somebody's deepest moment of their life,
Yeah,
you're at someone's graduation, you're whatever it may be. That's really really special to me, and I think that's music is just it's so important and it's so
sure.
special and I love it. I mean, I love acting, but it's yeah, music just it's incredibly precious to me. And yeah, and I'm gonna write some cool shit. I have like 14 songs coming out this year. So
Awesome. Very
yeah. I,
tell me about the one song which I think is probably I'm guessing probably the most deeply personal, which is Not If You Stay. That
yeah.
song just feels very very personal. Is it about somebody specific or is it just a general thought that you've had or maybe a little of both, something specific that you turned a little more general?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's specifically about a person. And so growing up, like when I was 2 years old, my dad left and he just kind of pieced out. And so I think over time I've had this like deep abandonment wound where it's like, you know, the thing I've realized over time, I actually got married at a very young age. I got married at 20
Okay.
and we were together for 10 years and he's still a good friend of mine. But we parted ways, and I think through that between that experience and then just the abandonment stuff from growing up, I've learned that it's a lot harder to stay, right? And
Yeah.
and the most courageous thing, everyone's like, "Oh, you got to muster up the courage to leave and you got to really like have the courage to start over." And I'm like, "Actually, like I think you got to have the courage to stay."
Right.
Because staying and working it out is way fucking harder than,
Mhm.
piecing out. And I found myself running, I did my best in that marriage, but I left that and I found myself going away from it to try to maybe fix something kind of inside of me that had I maybe fixed, I probably could have maintained my relationship. And the interesting thing is when I was writing that song, it's like you get so accustomed to whatever the wound is around. It's like, oh yeah, well they'll leave And that was like my
Sure.
protective barrier, right? Or I'll leave, and that's just how it goes. But like, oh my God, like when I wrote that song, I was like, I don't know what to physically do if you stay. Like if you
Right.
stay, it makes me super uncomfortable and I'm not used to it. And then what, you know? And then it's just normal and then we just figure it out. Like that, what does that mean?
Right.
So yeah, so that song is super important. It's actually about kind of the first relationship I had after my marriage fell apart.
Okay.
And it was just somebody that showed up for me very consistently and was like, I don't know where you got this idea that like you have to constantly, like someone's always going to leave or like you got to just peace out and throw the deuces. But like it's normal to stay. Like
Yeah.
we can figure this out. And I just felt so exposed, like so exposed and just like, I don't even know what to do with this. So that's been a really beautiful lesson and a great song came out of it.
Sure.
Yeah, and music's also been really healing. I have a great relationship with my dad now, and so that's been a really cool ride too, to kind of just forgive and let go. And life's just too short. It's one thing I've realized after COVID. I think we all have. It's like, what's really important now? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
If I'm not in a state of joy and like laughing, like, yeah, the hard times come, but like we just take shit way too seriously.
Mhm.
So I've been really and that's another thing, this whole Kelly Monroe thing, right? It's like I used my middle name for music
Right.
because it is kind of like stepping into a character, right? I mean, it's me,
Hmm.
but there's a part of me that this like Kelly Monroe is like she's fierce, she's bold, she's a rebel, she's like kind of got this like Janis Joplin baby vibe thing going on, and it's like a part of me that I get to express in a very unapologetic way. And and everyone's like, "Why did you change your name? Like, what's that?" And I'm like, "Because I'm not taking myself too seriously. Like, this is all fucking play. It's all
Right.
just it's like it's fun. I'm a creative. This is what we do. And it's like I don't need to take myself so seriously. So that's been really fun too. Is just like I keep pushing the envelope with like how ridiculous can I be and like how much fun can I have? It's just
Hmm.
life is a life is a play. It's a playing field now because it's already hard enough. I mean, we don't need to in fact, the next probably 7 songs that I'm dropping are all really up and fun
Sure.
and power anthem songs, and it's just like it feels really good, especially coming out of the PRONOIA EP. So,
Sure. Definitely.
by
Yeah.
the way, do you know what PRONOIA
I
means?
that's one of those one of the questions on my list was, and I've written I've,
Okay.
I've written 6 books, so I know a lot of words, but I pronoia is not a word that I know. So
Oh, you've written 6 books. I want to
I
hear about
have.
that
Yeah.
sometime. Wow,
Okay.
good for you.
Yeah. So go ahead and tell me, what is pronoia?
Okay, pronoia is it's the opposite of paranoia. Paranoia is the belief that something is always going to go wrong.
Okay.
And pronoia is the belief that the universe is always conspiring in your favor and that things happen specifically for a reason to get you to where you're really supposed to be.
Sure.
That is the definition of pronoia. And so I decided to name that EP that. It's actually my favorite word. I've got it tattooed on
Oh,
my
nice.
arm right here. And yeah, it's just such a beautiful reminder. That EP was like those 3 songs were kind of the beginning of me stepping into Wide Open, Either Way, and Not If You Stay were all kind of a period of my life when I first started this music, of just like, okay, now I understand that all of this happened for a reason. And now I understand why I had to go through all this pain and all this like kind of self-suffering to like get to this realization that this was all part of the plan. This was all part of what was supposed to happen. Not only to get me where I'm going, but also to really appreciate the beauty that I'm about to create and that's coming my way. And it just shifted everything for me.
No question. Now,
Yeah.
now at this stage, do you have a band, or is it just you and hired musicians, or are you looking to put together a band and go out and play
I
shows,
am
or where you at?
Hell yes is the answer.
Okay.
Yes. I don't have a band yet. I've been just using the players that I've been in the studio with in Nashville.
Okay.
And I mean, some of these cats are like 2 of them tour with uh, Keith Urban and Tim
Okay.
McGraw. And they're just badasses.
Sure.
Adam specifically, it's just these players are great. So I think I'll probably start performing. I'd say like uh, March. I think is my first one that I'm going to do.
Okay.
And I'll probably kind of poach a couple of them and then eventually have my own crew. But yeah, I'm having fun. I mean, that's the plan anyway. We got, I think, one thing on the book so far, and kind of the rest history. I'm dropping a song in January that I believe will be the big one,
Okay.
the big single.
The big
Oh,
sing
it's
coming
the
soon.
big single. Yeah, it's a fun one.
Sure. Now, Kelly, let's talk a little bit about acting. I don't want to get into a whole acting thing, but you've obviously done some really big stuff. Obviously, Billions is huge, and Lucifer was really big, and American Crime Story is really big too. It's a super popular, series.
Yeah.
Um, and they're seen by millions and millions of people. Even whatever the least successful of those three that I just named was seen by 10 million people a week. And with that said, when you go into something like that, do you have anxiety because it's gonna be seen by so many people, or do you not even care? Is there is,
Yeah.
is there a difference between a smaller role that you might do, like an independent film, versus something that you just know is sponsored by ABC, or it's sponsored by
Right.
Netflix and has big money behind it, or where it's going to be seen?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think once again the self-worth connects, like once you're connected to the self-worth part, you show up and like I will never forget I met Shirley MacLaine,
Okay.
and she looked at me and she goes, "You've got a seat at the table.
Sure.
So act like it, you know?" And I think that was a big change, like big game changer for me, because there is something in this entertainment business. I mean, you have to really believe in yourself or you're going to get eaten alive,
Mhm.
and I think when you show up on set too, it's like, the caliber of the talent obviously has just been stellar, the people I've gotten to work with. And it's interesting though, because it's like when you're present and you're in the moment and you're actually filming, you're just two people, two creatives, like creating a story, right? And so there's no ego attached. It's I've had really good luck with that. And then of course sometimes I get way more nervous on the back end, like I'm like, oh my god, like I don't like looking at myself on screen. It's just a thing. I don't know why, but I get way more nervous on the back end. But when you're present and you're actually creating the story, that shit is so fun, and I don't even think twice about it. It's more just like, oh my god, I forgot I did that, and now I'm nervous to see it.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think there's a level of like stepping up, where you gotta really be your biggest fan, in the sense of like, I'm gonna show up and do my best, and all I can do is prepare, do my best. And but also, like, you gotta have swagger. You gotta definitely walk in and
Mhm.
be like, I know I'm worthy of doing this role because I fucking got it,
Right.
and I'm about to knock it out of the park. And that's just kind of where I'm at now, which I think is a snowball effect too, because once that confidence comes, then people want more of that. It's just like anything.
Sure. But
Yeah.
and the interesting thing is you've been in these big shows, but you've never taken a feature yet in a big role. You've never been like the featured actress in the big role, which I is the next step. I mean, you've
Yeah.
certainly done enough to warrant that, to warrant somebody taking the chance and elevating you to that. For you, does that get for me, that would be extremely frustrating to be right on the cusp in in the acting world and not jump the final hurdle. Is that frustrating for you, or do you just keep waiting and hoping that it
Super.
goes?
It's super frustrating, but I think that's when you have to think outside the box, right? So part of the
Mhm.
reason I started doing music is I was like, what am I waiting for? Like I'm gonna do this for myself, and it's really like a portfolio of self, right? It's like,
Okay. Mhm.
it's a triple threat kind of thing. So it's like, I think I've known, again, bringing up that pronoia word, it's just like, I know it's coming, because I know that I've always known that there's going to be a role that puts me on the map in a very big way. And that sounds so silly to even say, but I've just always known that. And so there's obviously, it was put in my heart for a reason. This desire to do this and be in this industry I can't do anything else. I know it's there for a reason. So it's going to meet me. It's going to meet me at some point. And so I think that term pronoia has been really important to me, because it's just like, I really believe that it's all conspiring in my favor and it's just going to happen. But yeah, I mean, to your point, it's literally like the way I explain it. It's like right before you throw up, you're just like, it's coming, but you can't get it up. And that's a gross example, but it's like, it's just like, fuck, like I just want to throw up. I just want to feel better. It's like, and and
Right.
I hate throwing up, but then it finally happens and you're like, oh, thank God, but like
Right.
that is being a creative. It's painful. It's painful because you can go years without working and
Sure.
then land the Oscar winning role, or get an Emmy or get a, and it's just like, what can happen overnight? But what I've realized is it takes 20 years for overnight success. And I keep telling myself that because nothing is just going to fall in your lap and nothing's handed to you. But, if you look at anybody's career, I mean, you look at Kevin Hart, you look at, Jamie Foxx is a great example. These cats have been in the game for 25 years.
Sure.
And you can look at roles that, they did day players and they did guest star roles and they did all these small, shitty independent films for 20 years before they became who
Mhm.
they were. So, that's another thing. It's like, I really feel old school that way. And this is why the whole millennial thing is, this day and age is just bizarre, but I've really had to put in the work, and one day I will be able to be like, I worked my ass off and I had to do all that to get to where I am now. And nothing is just, of course, handed. Right. So I'm putting in the time and the work, and I know that it will pay off, but it's extremely frustrating, especially when you finally know that you're capable of doing it. It's like, I can't wait. I can't wait to carry a story as a lead because I know I'm a good storyteller. I know I'll be able to do it. And and the other frustrating part with this industry is like it's a waiting game. You got to wait for somebody to well, that was the old belief. I got to wait for someone to give me the role. I got to wait to audition for that. And it's like,
Mhm.
actually, you don't. You have to go out and make it. You got to go out and make your own content. You got to write your own music. You got to do your own thing. You got to write I'm thinking about writing a one woman show to perform in a theater in New York. And it's just
Okay.
like, that's just going to happen because that's the next step for me. So, but it all comes when it's supposed to. And I really believe when you can carry it is when it will come, when you can really
Sure.
hold it.
No,
And but yeah, it's really frustrating.
sure. I get it. In a perfect world, what do you become? The next Carrie Underwood or the next Scarlett Johansson?
Oh, I think I'm just gonna be Kelly Dowdle
Perfect.
and Kelly Monroe. And yeah, I think what's coming, I think the crossover is important. I think there's gonna be a role that allows me to sing and eventually takes me to Broadway.
Okay.
And I think I'm just gonna do it all. Everyone's like, well, if you have to choose, and I just don't live in a world of or anymore. I'm like, I'm gonna do it all. I'm gonna do it all. I'm gonna do TV and film and sing and create. I'm an entrepreneur on the side, so I've got a patent on a fashion garment that I'm
Okay.
working on. And I'll probably eventually get married again. Maybe I fire out a baby or two, and I'm just gonna do it all. And that's just kind of my personality. So
Sure, definitely.
yeah.
The interesting thing right now in the visual art, I'll call it, because TV, movies, whatever, is that it seems like more than we've had, maybe even since the 70s, there is a there is an opening for people that can sing. Seems like there's a lot more shows that are based on people that can sing, whether it's like Nashville, obviously that's several years ago, but even shows like Ghost and Power on Stars, and they feature people that can sing, and it's a prominent role in the shows. I see it a lot of times now, more than I've seen in a long time. Empire, another one.
Yeah.
Obviously, there does seem to be an opening that where they're finally focusing on multi-talented people. That might be the opening for you. No?
Yeah, I know, I absolutely think so. I mean, I think that's kind of the goal, right? I mean, look, back in the day, you even look at people like, I mean, all the greats, they were all triple threats. You had to be able to show up on set and sing and tap dance and fucking do any dance and do
Right.
all the things. And then I think it really died off in the 80s and 90s, right? When you didn't really have to be that well equipped. I mean, if you think about it, that
Sure.
just wasn't required. And so I'm trying to kind of bring that back because I think it's important. And there's a lot of incredible singers that are also acting and that can do both. But I think the thing that sucks is the way the way the system is. And I'm not mad at it because it's just the way that it is. But you got the big dogs, right? You got like CAA and WME and these like monster agencies.
Sure.
And what happens is, they're packaging movies left and right all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody like me who's done a lot of shit and like, decent stuff, I'm not even getting the opportunity to read for that role until they've passed. Probably 4 actresses have passed on a role.
Sure.
Like they're packaging with people that are already in the system in their, in their whole portfolio. So by the time it's getting to someone like me who actually has to put themselves on tape or read with the producer to try to get the role, like Scarlett Johansson and 4 other people have passed on it.
Right.
So that's the part that's a little corrupt, like in the industry. It's like, again, mad respect to all the people that are finally with them because it's taken a long time and
Sure.
they put in their work. But I think you really have to think outside the box now. And that's why, again, I think with the music crossover, it's like, I'm just gonna, they'll eventually come to me just because I'm creating opportunities for myself. But by the time that someone like me, if you are waiting at home and you are sitting around waiting for your agent to call you with an audition, you are missing so many opportunities and you're selling yourself incredibly short.
Sure.
So yeah, it's and I think, again, the triple threat thing, it's like, I think, again, I think if you have the capacity to do it, you're selling yourself short by not, and yeah.
Do you think it hurt? Do you think it hurts you that you're not based in LA?
No,
No.
I think it helps. I think it helps.
Okay.
I think it helps. Yeah, I did it backwards. My whole life I've done everything ass backwards. It's like, oh, you're supposed to be in LA, and then I moved to New York, and I booked something in like 3 weeks.
Oh.
It's like I didn't work in LA for like a year and a half, moved to New York, booked something. I don't think it matters anymore, especially, post COVID. Like
Okay.
there's tons of stuff going down in Atlanta and New Orleans now, and they're filming in Austin, Texas a lot. So I just don't think it matters anymore. I think the main thing is just, getting ready, being ready and staying ready. And then, where you are doesn't really matter because you're doing it on Zoom or,
Sure.
Wherever now anyway. So yeah, I think it's also cool because New York, I've realized the market is really interesting. It's like LA, I feel like no one really saw me. Like it was more very stereotypical kind of not typecasting, but just like you're reading for this role. And whereas in New York, I feel like you go in and you read for something and they like really see the artistry and they really give you an opportunity to like be an artist. It's just much more realer. It's real. It's cool. I don't know. I like New York way better.
Well, I'm gonna guess. It's because there's more artistic people in New York than LA. LA is about money. New York, obviously, you have Broadway and off Broadway, and everything else is there. So you have more artistic people there than you do in LA, where it's all focused on dollars and look, and that's
exactly.
It,
exactly, which doesn't really go with my vibe. I'm much more of like, yeah, I do much better in New York, but that's exactly why. There's just the level of talent in New York is bar none. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So it's and the inspiration there. I mean, it's like you go to LA and it's like I felt, and I'm not knocking LA because I'm sure I'll go back and work there, but
sure.
It was just like Groundhog Day for me. Like every day was the same shit, and you're doing the same thing and there's no really external kind of motivation. It's just like inspiration. There's no inspiration there. It's like you have the ocean, but I found myself just doing the same things every day. And then you lift your head up and like 5 years goes by and you're like, what the hell happened?
Sure.
In New York, it's just, you walk out on the street and it's just constant stimuli, all around you. And it's been really, really, really inspiring me. In fact, I've written a lot of songs in my apartment. So it's been pretty cool.
Perfect. Well, since you brought the songs back, let's talk one more time about the songs. The new EP is called PRONOIA. When is it out? Is it out now or is it getting ready?
It's out. It just dropped on Friday. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And where should we send people to to keep up with you, whether it's in music or TV or movies or acting in
Thank
general?
you. Yeah. I'd say Instagram. My handle is Kelly Monrow Dowdle, and it's with a W, not an E.
Okay.
And yeah, I'd say that's kind of the main platform. And then, of course, I don't really use Twitter very much, but that's where most of the stuff is. And then music is on Spotify and Apple Music. So it's been fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
obviously IMDb has the entire list of everything that you've done on that as well. So lots of places to check out Kelly. And one more time, the EP is called Pronoia. Even if you don't buy it, I'll just say it to all you cheapos out there. Even if you don't buy it, go listen to it. It's on all the streaming services. So check it out there, and you're bound to find something that you like there. And Kelly, just want to say thanks for joining me here on Chris Akin Presents.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It was fun talking with you.
Thanks for checking out this episode of The Classic Metal Show. Get all of our episodes uncensored at www.theclassicmetalshow.com. Join us weekly from 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. Eastern at www.cmsradio.net. Participate in the live chat room at www.chatandkill.com. Once again, thank you for checking out The Classic Metal Show with Neely and Chris. Hail and kill, fuck you, pal, and hand job!